What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Orrico, and today I'm joined by my good friend, Casey Bubba, as usual here in September, to talk you through all the fantasy baseball headlines, news and notes, injuries, and all the rest of the goodies. Bubba, great to be back with you, my friend. How you doing today?
Doing well. It's a Friday, heading into another weekend. We got 3 weeks of baseball left. There's some other sport being played on another feed we have. So all that great stuff, but baseball's still going strong in my world, and I'm guessing yours as well.
Yeah, this is a crazy time of year right now, man. Like as soon as the Thursday night football game started yesterday, my brain was like, okay, now it's crunch time. Now we only have a couple of weeks left. We do have some football questions in the chat as we did the other day. I'm not again, like I'll say the other day, I'm not gonna be the one who can answer these. I'm taking
Me
Ricky
neither.
Pearsall probably in that first one, and probably Pacheco for the second one. But I'm not the guy to ask. Go over to the football feed. Go over to Fantasy Pros on Discord. Get your questions answered over there on the football side. We're talking baseball here, folks. We only have a handful of shows left on the baseball calendar, and we are going to be focusing in on MLB. But I want to give something away first. We've been talking about the Billy Wagner jersey for quite a while, and we are going to be giving that away today. The winner is Robbie Bertu 17. Congratulations, Robbie. Be in contact with us at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address and a screenshot of your YouTube account while logged in. Once we confirm, we'll get you your prize shipped out. And congrats again to Robbie Bertu 17. But you're probably thinking, man, I wanted to win some Billy Wagner merch. What's going on here? I really wanted to win. Well, you still can, because the next giveaway is a Billy Wagner signed baseball, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel right now. Drop a comment below on any video, and that's it. We'll be announcing one lucky winner right here on the channel. So turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. If you haven't done so already, guys, would really appreciate anybody subscribing to the channel, whether it's on the YouTube feed, audio feed, however you can help us out. That would be much appreciated. And we really appreciate Michael, who just resubbed with Prime. He says he almost feels out of touch having a bye this week. Someone dropped Keishel in his league, worth grabbing him and dropping Simpson. Bubba, what are your initial thoughts on that one?
Honestly, if I'm guessing bye week means he has a head-to-head format for the playoffs,
Yeah.
I would lean Keishel because he's going to give you more categories. Simpson's primarily a steals, maybe some batting average, or Keishel's could help in all 5 categories. So I'm just off of what I think his league format is. I would go Keishel pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think I agree. Unless you're super, super desperate for speed, I think Keishel is a more well-rounded player. But we are going to dive into some of the headlines. We'll get to some of your questions later, so fill up the chat, and we will do a little segment later to answer your questions. But let's start off with Paul Skenes. I don't even know what to do with this guy anymore. He's just so good. 6 innings yesterday with 8 strikeouts against the Dodgers, 2-run ball, just 2 hits. 173 innings this year. It's a 198 ERA, a .94 WHIP. He has a 23.1 strikeout minus walk rate, and we're at the point where Skenes has a good number of innings under his belt. It's over 306 innings, and it's a 197 ERA and a .94 WHIP. I don't even know how to categorize this anymore. Like this, he might be the best pitcher in baseball. He might not be, but I don't know that I remember seeing a pitcher start their career on fire to this degree. I don't know what to make of him, Bubba. I think that he's the best pitcher in the league, probably. But what are your thoughts on Paul Skenes?
I'll still give Scooble that nod, but it's nothing against Paul Skenes. Skenes has been awesome. He's got that Pedro-esque stat line that you're reading off there that we've seen. He's a beast. If he was on a better team, we'd talk about him even more. Let's put it that way. He's pretty darn good. It's actually impressive. Last night we digging in on him. He's got 10 wins on the year, so that's come quick after it seemed like he had none forever.
Wow.
But yeah, he's one of the best. I'll say that much. He's pretty darn good. He's super young. He's built like a horse. So hopefully that longevity sticks there, and hopefully he gets out of Pittsburgh where he can be appreciated more.
So you think it's I don't have any real argument of Scooble over Skenes. Do you think we'll see Scooble go over Skenes pretty consistently in drafts next year? Or do you think there'll be some mixing and matching there?
I still think it's Scooble over Skenes. We've seen it back-to-back years now. He's probably going to win the AL Cy Young for the 2nd straight season. The consistency that he's shown, not that Skenes hasn't, obviously, I think there will still be a little bump there for sure.
Yeah, like B saying here in the chat, it's a better team context, more win probability. I think it's still Scooble, but Paul Skenes, man, just unbelievable. Every time out, it seems like he's doing amazing things. But let's keep it going here with Ranger Suarez. Another strong day for him. This one came against the Brewers. pretty short slate yesterday, but we do have a pretty full list of headlines anyway. 6 innings, 6 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Ranger Suarez was somebody that I think was relatively cheap in draft season from what I remember. He's giving you a 2.89 ERA and a 1.18 whip, but importantly for fantasy managers as well, 11 wins in his 22 starts. So what do you make of Ranger Suarez? We've seen some pretty consistent production from him over the years, but he still doesn't feel like a safe pick necessarily. If I'm like thinking forward to 2026, I don't think of Suarez as like, oh yeah, I'll take him as my SP3 and I'm good to go there. I think there is still some worry in the back of my head, but maybe that's not justified anymore. Bubba, what do you think?
He's going to have his hiccups, that's for sure. We saw him absolutely dominate to like start the season once he came off the IL, of course. And then he, like I said, the hiccups were there, but he's back to being that guy. He's always been a pretty strong strikeout arm when he's rocking and rolling, and ratios of like honestly, he's been a very solid pitcher. He's not quite a fantasy 2, probably, but at least a 3 pretty religiously when healthy. And like you said, we're seeing that again. The dude's just beasting out. It's been 2 home runs or less in 4 straight starts after he had like a 4 to 5 start hiccup in the middle there. But prior to that was 3 earned runs or less in every single start. So I think it's who he is. You roll with him. The fact, like you said, he went into Milwaukee, which is definitely one of the best teams in baseball right now, and took care of business. It's a good arm to have for the final 3 weeks of the season.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's the kind of guy where maybe he's just a boring player that will return value, and he's just somebody that will get passed up in drafts because people want to shoot for the upside and shoot for the moon. But good team context, he's been performing for the majority of his career at this point, so maybe I need to give him a little bit more respect than I am Ranger Suarez. On the other side of that matchup, though, Freddy Peralta, another great start. His season as a whole, I think it may have flown under the radar to some degree a little bit. He has a 2.50 ERA, a 1.07 whip, and 16 wins, which do lead Major League Baseball. And he's actually the SP5 if you look at the Fangraphs player rater behind Crochet, Evaldi, Skenes, and Tariq Skubal. Are we not respecting Freddy Peralta enough? Should he be somebody that is in that like 3rd round mix next year in the top 10 starting pitchers for you?
Well, as I refer to him, it's Frederick Peralta, and that's the respect I put on him there. But yes, he's absolutely outstanding. I think he always falls out the top 10 because and he's even doing it this year. He doesn't go past 5, 6 innings like ever, so he doesn't go deep into games. He still has a bit of a walk issue. That's been a thing, his whip. So it's not he gets you a little whipsawed from time to time. But one reason I've always loved him is the strikeouts are as legit as they come. Like he's one of the few guys that gets you 190, 200 plus strikeouts potentially year in and year out. So top 10, loose term. I won't argue if someone wants to put him in the back end of the top 10. He's definitely like a top 15 for me. I love him. Like even this past season, if you can go into a draft and somehow Freddie's your SP2, outstanding. I did an online championship and he was my first pitcher. I took him in round 9. He fell that far. Happy as, can be. So I love Freddie. What he's doing, I believe in. It's just I don't think he gets the love because he doesn't go deep into games.
Yeah, I think that's that's pretty fair. But Peralta, what he's done throughout his whole career has been pretty consistent. Like there have been some ups and downs. It's probably the best we've ever seen of him, but I've never really looked at him as anything less than maybe an SP2 for fantasy. And the price this year was so good. I made the decision a couple times between him and Zach Allen in drafts a couple times this year, and could not have been more of a binary choice there between having a good season and having a bad season. Gallen turned around a little bit recently, which is good to see, but man, I wish I picked Peralta every single time. Ryan BCFB, first time chatter. Is this who I think it is, Bubba?
It is exactly who you think he is because in his on his second shift of the day, he's a diehard college football NCAA player. So that is who you think it is, and just saying he's not bad at what he does. He does this show called Bubba and the Bloom. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, he might have a whole shelf full of FSWA awards and whatnot. And I might as well just say it now. Ryan Bloomfield from Blue Place 2 will be my co-host on Monday for the show, sitting in for Bubba, who will not be able to make it. But, I figure we can't get Bubba. We might as well get Bloom. So that one will be a lot of fun. You got me. We do indeed got you, Ryan. I didn't get it at first. BCFB, and I'm off my game today. I should have figured that one out a little bit sooner. Let's talk Yordan Alvarez, who is back, and he has actually really been performing well. He hit his 2nd home run since returning from the injured list, and I think I got like several messages that were not even a question yesterday. It was just thank God. Thank God I've waited around for Yordan, and he is finally here for the fantasy playoffs. And what he's done since he's come back, 14 for 28, 7 runs, 2 homers, 7 ribbies. The question here really for me is what do we do with him next year? Because if you have him this year, obviously you're starting him. He wasn't dropped anywhere, or if he was, then you picked him up already. I don't know what to price him as for next year. Is he a second rounder? Is he a potential end of the first rounder? I don't think so. Is he into the third round? I have no idea, Bubba. Where are you at right now on Yordan Alvarez's evaluation?
I usually avoid him because of the injury concerns. I know it's a bad, like he played 147 games last year, but then it was 114, 135, 144. So he's all over the board. He still had 30 home runs in 4 straight seasons. He hit 290 or better, over 300 for 2 of the last 3. Like the tools are amazing. I should maybe be more interested. He's played 36 games this year. So that's been a big bummer if you avoided that. I think he'll still go in the second round because people will see that batting average. And we talk about how it's a roto stat that seems to get overlooked from time to time, but it's one of those that when the league average is hitting like 240, to get a guy hitting 300 is more than tremendous, not to mention the power he brings to the table. Not a big run producer, though. If I want to throw a grain of salt there, he's never had 100 RBIs. Well, 2021. Sorry, it's been a while since he's had 100 RBIs. You'd think a guy with his power would just destroy things. So someone will take him in the second round. It will not be me. Now, if he fell to the third round, I'd have a hard time saying no. But I am always concerned with these injury guys. It's just who I am.
Yeah, I think this profile is one that I really like in the last couple of years with the way that steals are easier to get. If you can get a guy who's going to hit 300, who's going to hit you 30, 35 homers, that's the whole argument for taking Vlad at the end of the first round. Now, Vlad has been completely opposite in terms of Yordan, in terms of durability in his career. But that type of profile where you're getting a high batting average with power, I think, like you said, that'll keep people interested in him in the second round. And if he falls to the third, I'm going to be clicking draft quite a bit. And I'll probably slip it on the banana peel again because it's the Astros and who really knows with them what to make of anybody. But let's talk about another guy who's been disappointing this year, not to the same level as Yordan Alvarez, but Mookie Betts went yard yesterday and started to turn his season around a little bit as of late over the last 30 days. He's hitting 326, 20 runs scored, 4 homers, and 13 ribbies. But overall for Mookie, it has still been a really disappointing season. I feel for those who might have paired Yordan Alvarez and Mookie Betts at the first and second round, but I mean, 96 WRC plus for Mookie. He's hitting 250, only 15 homers, single-digit steals for the first time since 2014. I feel like I'm going to be a fade on Mookie next year. I think he's going to be a guy where the name value still keeps him too expensive for me, Bubba. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been fading him for a little while now. Like it kind of backfired in 22 and 23, to be fair. But the other years, like he always gets massive hype, and he's like I said, outside of 2 years, has he really met that first or second round value? Probably not. Or we don't play in a WRC plus league, unfortunately, so that ruins that for us. But with Mookie, I guess the question for people is: do you believe the early illness that made him lose all the weight? Do you think that's the reason? I don't think so, because I figured that would be fixed by now. Just my assumption with all the money the Dodgers have. So I'm out. I've always been out on Mookie. Heck of a talent, but I think he's going to be 33 next year. We might be looking towards a different path here.
Yeah, we mentioned it on the show the other day. Age 32 to age 33, there's a lot of data that shows that can be the time when players kind of fall off. Well, his barrel rate's at 4.4%, hard hit rate at 34, average EV at 88, max EV at 107. These are all the lowest numbers, I believe, in his career, just doing a quick glance. Certainly the worst he's been in a long time, especially in terms of the barrels. 4.5% barrel rate is pretty terrible. So I think Mookie is probably going to have to be a fade at this point, unfortunately, unless he starts to fall. But like I said, the fact that he's Mookie Betts, he probably won't fall that much. But if, just something you said, we don't play in WRC plus leagues. Wouldn't it be fun if there was a league that was just advanced stats, XFIP, WRC plus, stuff plus, and that would be kind of a fun little league to play in, I think.
We'd lose 90% of the NFPC audience, so it'd be entertaining.
Hey, it might be worth it. Might be worth it at that point. Let's talk Vinnie P, who I know you have no problem talking about, Bubba. 29th home run of the season yesterday. He's hit 10 in the last 30 days. He and Bryce Terang have been eating their Wheaties in the month of August and into September because they have been just hitting the cover off the ball. First base is a very deep position, and because of that, Vinnie P is still 11th for the season. But I feel like he's probably somebody I'm going to rank as a top 10 first baseman next year. He's giving you tons of power. He's giving you the RBI. The batting average isn't quite as high as I was hoping necessarily at 258, but like we talk about all the time, the league average is like 233 or something. So 258, you're still taking it. I love Vinnie P. I've really fallen in love with him this season, Bubba. Is he a top 10 first baseman heading into next year?
I think so. Like I'm looking at the meatball draft. He was like the 7th or 8th first baseman off the board, and yours truly took him with that. I love Vinnie P. He's helping me tremendously in an auction league this year because he was so cheap because people kind of overlooked him because of recent performances between the shoulder injuries. He's healthy this year. The power's there. He's still driving in a ton of runs, hitting in the middle of that order. He's still hitting for the same average. Like the skills are awesome, and he's only 27. Like I love everything about Vinny P. As long as those shoulders stay intact, I don't see why he can't do this or maybe more for the next 3-4 years at least.
Yeah, it's surprising that like looking at wins above replacement, not that we really care about that for fantasy, but he's only at 1.2. And I guess it's because the defensive adjustments really hurt you there at first.
You look at his defensive numbers, that's bad. He's bad at defense, it looks like.
-3 defensive runs saved, -3 outs above average. Yeah, that's not exactly anything to write home
Like if
about.
you look at defensive WAR, it's -12.8.
Oh, man, I feel like first basemen get hit a little bit too much, I think,
True.
but I'm actually not that familiar with Vinny P's defensive acumen off the top of my head, but the DRS and OAA is not amazing from him, but we don't really care about that as long as he's hitting 30 homers, driving in 100, and he's the type of guy I think could spike a 300 season pretty easily given his profile, or even into the 280s, 290s. It wouldn't really surprise me. Let's talk PCA. He's been benched the last couple of games. The Cubs are trying to give him a little bit of a mental rest. I feel like if you have PCA, it would be very hard to actually bench him, but it would have been the correct call for the last couple of months at this point. Let's say he gets back in the lineup over the weekend after this bit of a mental reset. Where you have him, would you be sticking him back in there, or would you be leaving him on the bench for a while?
He's on the bench until otherwise. Like since the All-Star break, 212, 3 homers, 4 steals. That is horrific. He's crushing your team. I've told people in our Discord for Bubba and the Bloom that 10 teams you should drop him. 12 teams I wouldn't stop you. 15s you hold and bench. Like we're 3 weeks left in the year, especially if you're in like a head-to-head, like a playoff format. You can't afford to hope he figures it out. Like you need to play guys that are producing. And yeah, it was a phenomenal first half of the season. But we talked 2026 a lot, Joe. He is going to be a very difficult one to figure out because the skills we saw, the results we saw in the first half, we all kept saying like the skills that are being showcased are still like tough to believe. Now he's doing this in the second half, so the analysis for 2026 will be really tricky.
Yeah, Beck, who's a friend who covers the minor leagues and prospects, he tweeted I think it was a couple months ago. He said, Pete Crow-Armstrong is breaking everything I thought I knew about player evaluation. And then he quoted that a few weeks ago. He's like, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Things do even out. But even with things evening out for the season, PCA is a $26 player, the 21st ranked player overall, still ahead of guys like Corbin Carroll, ahead of Yelich, ahead of Terang, ahead of Kyle Tucker. Like he still had overall a very good season. I think that'll be what people need to figure out heading into drafts. I thought that he could potentially get into the first round. That was a few weeks ago. Now I'm thinking it's been bad enough where you'll get him in the second, potentially even into the third round in some rooms. But this will be an interesting one to follow. If PCA has a smoking hot September, he might go back in the first round, right? So this is going to be a very volatile price to pay attention to over the next couple months. But this is why we do it. We love that's why I do it anyway. I love following these market trends heading into draft season, where a guy's going in November versus where he's going in March. I eat that stuff up. Is Parker Messick a good streamer for today? I personally don't like it against the Rays at home. He's been pretty good. I feel like if you have better options and you want to sit him, then that's fine. But I like Parker Messick quite a bit. I wouldn't have any problem starting him. Bubba, what about you?
Not knowing the format, if it's 12 team or shallower, I probably wouldn't because of the Tampa Bay ballpark. They do hit lefties okay, is what I'll say. That just scares me. Messick got lit up in his last start. So, or not lit up, got hit harder in his last start, I should say. So I'd be cautious.
Okay. Are you guys done with Yuri? Now 10 teamer, usually I would say probably, but it's a keeper format. So I think it depends on how many keepers you have. If it's like 2 keepers, probably not. If you have 5 or 6 keepers, I think you got to probably keep Yuri there, but it really depends on how many. So Big Dance, if you can follow that up, I think a little bit more context would really help with that one. What to do with Tucker and Adelise for Friday starts. Both of their statuses are super sketchy. I think you just got to check back in right before game time if you're in a daily lineup league. If you're setting your lineup for Friday through Sunday like you would on the NFBC, Bubba, and we don't have much clarity, or let's say they're sitting out Friday, would that make them a sit for the weekend for you?
Yeah, I already put Adelise on my bench. I'd be surprised if he plays a full weekend. Good thing with Tucker, they have the early game today in Wrigley, so we'll have a good idea. If he's out on Friday, I'd probably bench him, even though I feel like he's back at least Saturday or Sunday, but still, that's not going to do you much. So most are like Tucker. If he's out, you're good. I don't think Adelise plays much of the weekend.
I think that's the right call. Van Rod, who would you rather pick up? Nabil Crismatt, Cade Cavalli, or Joey Cantillo? I kind of like Cade Cavalli, but Bubba, what do you think here?
This is a good one because I get made fun of on my show with Ryan that I like Nabil Crismatt in deeper formats, but Cade Cavalli has a two-step coming up next week at Miami and versus Pittsburgh. So go pick up Cade Cavalli, please, and roll with that one.
That is good information. That is, I think I'm going to have to make that pickup myself in a couple of cases. Would you start Pivetta tonight at Colorado? Absolutely. For me, Pivetta's been great this season.
Don't even think about it.
I wouldn't think about it. I understand it. Trust me, with Pivetta's history with the homers in Colorado, I get the question, but I'm starting him. He's been brilliant this year. Finally, the year that I essentially kind of tap out a little bit on Pivetta. This is the year it happens, of course. Where do you guys think Carroll will go in drafts next year? I have him as a keeper for round 3. Thinking I might go another direction. Round 3, Carroll, pretty
Keep
good.
Him. Keep him. He's a top 5 pick right now, I think. Like I would say at best top 10, but like I would not be surprised if he's like the 4th or 5th pick in some drafts the way he's playing.
Yeah, he's the 27th player as a whole for the season. And I talked about this. I don't know if it was on this show or if it was on Sleeper in the Bus, but Corbin Carroll's had his best season of his career this year, and it's kind of fallen under the radar. Yep. 140 WRC plus is the best he's had. 5.7 WAR, 29 homers. Yeah, he doesn't steal as much as he used to, but it's going to be another year of 115 runs. He's going to hit 30 homers, maybe get up to 30 steals. If you can get him in the 3rd round, you should be licking your chops, because that is a phenomenal 3rd round keeper. Hunter Goodman dropped my head-to-head league yesterday for whatever reason. Should I drop Jeremiah Jackson? I think it depends on who you're trotting out a catcher right now, personally, because I'd want to have Goodman in the catcher slot. If you're putting him in the outfield, I guess it's fine. But Bubba, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, if you need a catcher, sure. But if you're just using him in the outfield, I'd actually keep Jeremiah Jackson. Colorado's on the road next week. Jackson's been hot. He's hitting second. And as long as he's swinging it well, you roll with it.
Yeah, it's a time of year where there's no more there's some time to turn it around. Like, it's whoever's performing today and tomorrow is who you got to be focusing in on. Is Cags a drop? I don't see him having an impact considering he's sharing time now. He's been back for 3 games. He's sat for 2 of them. I don't love it, Bubba. I got to be honest. I think in most leagues, people can probably move on.
Yeah, I think you can. Like I was telling people on our show, is the Royals, he could have come off the IL like a week or 2 ago, and they flat out said we're not calling him up until he has regular playing time. Well, he got called up after the rosters expanded, thus still no regular playing time, so I'm concerned.
Man, I thought Cags would be Nick Kurtz. Like, I thought it'd be the same thing, honestly. And for next year, I really like buying into Cags. But for this season, for the rest of the way, like we just said, if you're not performing right now, you're on the chopping block. Jason, I picked up Nick Kurtz on April 2nd. On one side, I had seen Jim Tomei comps. Those are looking pretty decent right now. A little too early, but I love what I've seen with the exception of Kurtz and Vladdy. It seems like first base are power but low average guys. Kurtz is currently hitting 308 with a 1037 OPS. Can he maintain the on-base skills long term? I think there is a chance that Nick Kurtz continues to grow, but there's also a chance that Nick Kurtz never has another season quite to this level, which I don't think anybody wants to hear. But he has a 177 WRC plus with a 14% walk rate. There's a chance that this is the peak. Now, he's probably going to put together a very, very, very good career. But I don't know that we can expect a 401 on base rate from him. I think he's probably more of a 350 to 370 OBP guy going forward who hits 30 homers. But I don't know that this is going to be replicated year in and year out from Nick Kurtz. Bubba, what do you think?
I think the OBP, he's got those skills pretty solid. The batting average is what I'd be concerned with, to your point. I think he's still going to be an absolute monster. But I'd be cautious. This could be one of the best seasons we'll ever see from Nick Kurtz, unfortunately.
Yeah, people were saying it with PCA after the first half. Like, this might be the best first half of his that he ever has. And there's a chance the same thing with Nick Kurtz, like a 177 WRC plus. The only player who has a better mark this year is Aaron Judge. So just to put it into context, it's higher than Shohei. It's higher than even my guy, George Springer, Kyle Schwarber, Raleigh, all the rest of them. It's very hard to replicate that kind of thing unless you are a true generational stud. And if he is Jim Tomei, then maybe we do see that. But Jim Tomei hit 600 homers, so that's a high bar for sure. 12
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Cubs lineup came out. Kyle Tucker is not in it, so
okay,
that should help you folks.
So that makes your decision a lot easier. I think Tucker is riding the pine for you this weekend, or certainly for tonight in those daily leagues. 12-team head-to-head points. Vaughn, Caglione, or Ben Rice? This one is Ben Rice with a bullet for me, Bubba.
Yeah, Benny boy. Like, he's got that short porch and ride. He's swinging it well. You're going Ben Rice for sure.
Uncle Ben, he's been getting it done, especially in the second half of the year. Let's talk about a couple transactions. Alexis Diaz was DFA'd by the Dodgers. Now, there's part of me that thinks in drafts next season, he'll just be essentially free, and you might end up getting 20 saves somewhere next year if he signs on. I also think, again, this might be slipping over the banana peel, but any interest in Alexis Diaz as like a late round flyer next year in DC's, Bubba?
Yeah, you said the magic word there. In DC's, maybe. I could see like rounds 40 to 50 because like some team might get desperate and it might not even be a closing gig out the gate, but the White Sox sign him in second half of the season, he saves 10. Like there's a window for that. We're asking for a lot, but I could see it as a flyer late for sure.
Big Dan's followed up on that Yuri question. 10 keepers, so I think you got to keep Yuri.
You
got to keep Yuri unless your team is just completely stacked. I think you got to be keeping Yuri there. The other thing on the transaction list, Cal Quantrill released by the Braves. A bit of a tough season for Cal Quantrill. Do you think he catches on anywhere? Or do you think this could potentially, maybe not the end of him, but I mean, it's been pretty rough. 6.04 ERA, 5 last year, 5.24 the year before. Does somebody take a chance on Cal, you think?
Oh yeah, there's so many bad teams in baseball, and they want to expand to 2 more teams. So Cal Quantrill will get a shot somewhere. He'll be invited to spring training. Who knows what actually comes of it, but he will get a shot somewhere for sure.
Yeah, I'll always be partial to Cal, but it's pretty rough. It's been pretty rough this year. There were some streaming opportunities earlier in the year, but right now things are pretty dark. Rookie Lookie time. Brandon Sproat will be called up by the Mets and start Sunday at Great American Ballpark. What's your interest level, Bubba? You throwing him into the fire right away?
That's tough. I know people will. He wasn't as good as people think in the minors this year. Big time prospect, no doubt about it. But skills were lacking a bit. I'd actually probably sit this one out, but I'm always really cautious with the young guns.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I hadn't dug into him so much, but 4.24 ERA. Okay, 124 WHIP, 11% strikeout to walk. That's nothing to write home about. It really isn't. Great American Ballpark is a little bit worrisome. Now, he doesn't give up a ton of homers, which is a good thing going into Great American Ballpark. Only 9 in 121 innings. But I think if you're looking at McLean and Tong, they are
much better.
Maybe not miles ahead, but they're definitely better. If you're looking at Sproat as somebody who's going to do what they've done, might be asking a little bit too much. Let's get to the 3 up and 3 down. Andrew Vaughn, 3 for 4 yesterday. Nice to see him bounce back after he'd been pretty cold the last couple of weeks. Chris Morel, 3 for 4 with 2 runs and a ribby. And Kyle Teel, bless his heart, 3 for 5, triple shy of the cycle, 3 runs, 4 ribbies, and a stolen base to top it all off. I think Kyle Teel is going to be my catcher 2 on half of my teams probably next year, Bubba. I've completely fallen in love with him and what he's done so far this season. He won't rank terribly high on player raters because he hasn't played a ton, only 60 games. He's hitting 293, 6 homers and 3 steals. And even in a bad lineup, 57 runs and RBIs combined in 60 games. I'm in love, Bubba.
Yep, he's a stud. I have him as a catcher 2 in a lot of leagues, or a few leagues right now. He will be definitely. Dude, there's a window where he could be a catcher 1 if you wait on catching. Like he is that good. And this White Sox team, we make fun of them, but the second half, as they've let these young kids develop, offensively, they're much better than they were in the first half of the season. So if they keep doing this, and you have Teel and company, like he could be in for a pretty nice season.
I have him in a couple of leagues. The main one that I really need him in is the Bubba and the Bloom Auction Championship League, where I am in second right now. First is becoming a little bit tough. I got 11 points to catch up on, so that might be a little bit tough. But Kyle Teel, bless his heart, doing everything he can to get me back in that one. On the downs, Blake Snell, shelled by the Pirates, 5 earned runs on 9 hits and 3 walks. Cristian Javier, just 4 1/3 against the Yankees, 4 earned runs on 6 hits and 3 walks. I think Cristian Javier is somebody that I'm not really trusting rest of season, Bubba. I don't know about rolling him out in fantasy playoffs. Next start is at Toronto. I don't think I can do it.
No, he's a streamer at best in the right matchups. That's kind of how, weirdly enough, Cristian Javier has always been. Like, there's been like the high expectations for Javier. He had the 3.90 ERA last year, but again, 34 innings. He had almost a 4.6 ERA the year before. He's always had a walk issue. That's been his biggest problem. It's been a heavy dose of walks. Like, we're talking 12.7, 9, 12.5. So this is who he is. And that's just kind of the roller coaster you will have when you pitch him.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it just given Toronto. If it was Pittsburgh next or something, I'd maybe take a
Yeah.
chance. But Toronto's
Well,
cooled off a little bit, but it's still a matchup that should
it's
scare you.
still, yeah, you still stay away from them. And then if you just go even deeper down the rabbit hole, he's got like Texas, which you might be interested in, and then it looks like possibly at Sacramento. So maybe one start using the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Even in 15s, I don't think you can do it. Maybe in 15s. But the last of the downs, Daniel Schneeman with a golden sombrero yesterday. We always like to highlight the golden sombreros. Haven't had a Cinco Stinko. I don't even know if Bubba was here for the Cinco Stinkos. 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. I think we've had
That's impressive.
6 or 7 of them this year. I think Churio did it on opening day,
Yep.
and there was a couple others, but few and far between on the Cinco Stinkos. Let's get to the injuries. Pablo Lopez will make his return from the IL tonight, finally, against the Royals. Bubba, right in the fire for him?
Yeah, I think you do. This is an ace. You go with it, but I'm always like coming off a shoulder injury. Like that doesn't make like how does he go? 3 innings, 4 innings. So limit your expectations.
Yeah, I haven't followed his rehab. I'm not sure where he's at in terms of the buildup, but I think that's pretty sound advice. If you are in a daily league, you don't really have any reason to sit him unless, it's head-to-head season, it's head-to-head playoffs. If your ratios are looking good, you don't need to chance it, then maybe don't. But Pablo Lopez,
He
I'm
went
pretty
5 2/3 in his last rehab start.
That's encouraging. Okay, so maybe
Yep.
he gets the 5 if things are clean here against Kansas City. Not a team that scares me off a ton. This one does scare me a ton, though. Roman Anthony expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with the oblique strain. Is there any world where you're holding him and hoping for a shorter
No,
timeline here, Bubba?
not at all. Alex Cora flat out told him in a quote that envision leading off in game 1 of the ALCS, which is October 12th, which is a little over about 5 weeks away. So the way I look at it, it would take an absolute miracle, and miracles can happen. We did win in Lake Placid, but I don't think Roman Anthony's like they don't need to rush him back.
Get Al Michaels on the call here to get Roman Anthony back. And look, I think it's hilarious that the Red Sox think they're going to the ALCS. That's adorable, but I'm not gonna stoke those fires today. Let's keep it going with Francisco Alvarez. What you got? What else, Bubba? What else?
No, I was gonna just stoke I was gonna poke the bear, but I'll stop.
Let's talk about something that's close to your heart, Bubba. A catcher, Francisco Alvarez, will be activated from the IL today. This one's a bit of a shocker to me. Not that he's back, but I expected he'd be back maybe the last week or 2 of the year.
Yeah.
This is a pretty early timeline for him.
It's insane. Dude's got like a ligament damage in his thumb that's going to require off-season surgery. Then while rehabbing, gets hit by a pitch, fractures a pinky. And the dude has like missed the limited amount of time for all of this, all things considered. He hit a grand slam in his last rehab game. He's coming back on Friday. I made a joke. I'm like, he's missing his thumb and his pinky. Is he going to be a bowler now? Like, what do we got going on here? Like, he's so it's a freak, and catchers are freaks. This is part of it, but wow, just impressive stuff from the kid. I don't know how good he'll be, but that's nuts.
From a data perspective this year, albeit in a shorter sample size than we would have hoped for, 125 WRC plus, 7 homers in 56 games, 12% barrel rate, 53 hard hit rate. Is he a top 12 catcher for you next year? Is he a catcher 1?
I'm much more intrigued. I've said it forever. Like the hype train was so big from Francisco Alvarez as a prospect catcher, he never came close to living up to it. And like even the underlying metrics didn't look good. Got demoted this year. He's come back, and things have looked a lot better with him before he got hurt again. I am much more interested in looking at Francisco Alvarez this year for sure.
Okay. Bubba is the catcher guru, by the way. If you need catcher help, Bubba does the catcher write-ups in the black book. Like Bubba is your guy for everything fantasy baseball, but specifically for catchers. Bubba
catchers matter, folks. Catchers matter. Remember that.
Catchers matter, and they matter more now than they ever have before. Considering there's like 15 viable catchers. And, if you told me that 10 years ago, I would have thought I was having a dream. Jazz Chisholm had to leave early on Thursday due to a contusion in both knees. I actually didn't see what happened here, but both knees, that's not great. Weekend lineups, I guess comes down to whether or not he plays Friday for you, eh?
Yeah, no, he's got the Greg Odom disease going on here, both knees, but they said they pulled him early. He was working on them early. He expects to be back on Friday. We'll see how that plays out. I think he plays at least Saturday and Sunday, and the way he's swinging it, you might want to still put him in your lineups.
Yeah, you probably do. We talked about him the other day. It's like 28 homers, 20-some-odd steals. It's been a very good season for him. Max Muncy, I had to specify Dodgers Max Muncy, began a rehab assignment and can return to the team next week. Is he worth a couple bucks in fab this weekend, Bubba, as a stash?
Yeah, batting average is always questionable, but since he got the bifocals, he's swinging it well. The power's been there. Dodgers need every boost they can get right now because they just got swept. Let me repeat that: swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, Muncy is worth a fantasy target.
I think he is too. When he's been out there this year, it's been few and far between the games, but he's been very good. More good news for the Dodgers. Not really good news. I'm saying that sarcastically. Will Smith will likely be out until next week due to a hand contusion. So if you do have Will Smith, you're going to need to look at a short-term replacement. Maybe in a shallow league, you have Kyle Teel sitting on the waiver wire. Trevor McGill had a successful bullpen session and is expected to be activated from the IL on September 16th. So if you saw McGill was dropped anywhere, probably worth throwing a couple dollars at him. I think in deeper leagues, people probably held on, but I think if you're in a 10 or 12 team league and you really need saves, there's a chance he might be out there. So take a look at your waiver wire. Seth Lugo placed on the 15-day IL with a lower back sprain. He hadn't been that great really either. So I think, well, we're saying goodbye to Seth Lugo for the year and dropping him, right, Bubba?
Yeah, no, he's done. I don't see why they'd bring him back there's no reason to bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, at his age, considering the team's not playing for anything,
they just extended him for 2 years. They need him for next year. Like, no.
Yeah, I think part of them probably wishes they hadn't extended him after seeing what he's done over the last couple months. But this conversation for another day. Spencer Arrighetti dealing with elbow inflammation and is very unlikely to return this season. This guy just can't stay healthy. I don't know what to do with him really. Heading into next year, he'll be. I don't know. That health really is starting to worry me with Spencer Arrighetti. Christian Yelich missed both Wednesday and Thursday's games due to back soreness, but is expected to return on Friday. This is the risk with Yelich. This is always the risk with him, is that his back is awful. It's like if you look at the injury report for his career, it's like 10 different back injuries. Will that keep you off of him at all in 2026?
Not at all. He's been doing this forever. This is like the reports came out and they're actually kind of true reports. If it is just minor back pain, this is normal. The dude had back surgery last year. He hasn't missed any time with it. So they decided he's been kind of banged up for a couple of weeks. Let's give him a couple of days of rest. The Brewers are on a playoff push, of course. I'm not like we've dealt with this for years with Yelich, and he still puts up like 2020 type seasons. So I'm fine.
It's true. Some of the stuff with the games played, I think, is a little bit overplayed with him. But back issues, at a discount. Yeah, I think it depends on what the discount is. Like he's a top 5 or 7 outfielder this year. If he's a top 50 pick, would you like where what would be the tap out range for you? If he's a top 3 rounder, top 4 rounder?
Oh no, he's got to be deeper than that. Like I'm talking like 6, 7 round, and that's like okay. He went pretty late in the meatball, and then like I was mad because I thought about taking him for like 3 rounds, and I didn't do it. And someone finally got him. Like that's probably a gift right there.
Oh, yeah, he went mid-7th. Yeah, he went after Lubob, after Harris, after Bellinger.
I take him over Harris, but I have a thing against Harris, so it's okay.
Yeah, you should meet Joe Pisapia. You guys might get along.
Maybe. We're both bald and beautiful, so it works.
Well, that is undisputable. Let's talk. What else we got here on the injuries? Jordan Hicks will go on the IL with a right shoulder injury. This is really just because he stinks. He's been awful. One of the centerpieces of the Rafael Devers trade. Well done, Boston. Mackenzie Gore expects to return from the IL when he's first eligible on September 12th. Things have been pretty rough for Mackenzie Gore. If he's out there, or even if you have him, let's say in like a draft and hold format or whatever, are you throwing him back into the fire there when he's first eligible,
Bubba? Probably not. Like I love Mackenzie Gore. I don't know what we can expect from Mackenzie Gore right now. Is potentially his first start back would be against the Braves and at home and then at Atlanta. So his last 2 starts potentially are against the Braves. I'd probably say thanks for what you did. Not happy with how you finished. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, if he got activated hypothetically for the Pirates series,
that'd be different.
September 12, 13, and 14, then I could have a conversation. But if it's Atlanta, if it's Chicago, even if it's Miami, I think, like you said, you tip your cap. Thank you for the first half, and we pretty much move on from Mackenzie Gore. But that will take us into our best bets of the day segment. Bubba, we'll start with you today. I usually go first, but what do you have for the people to wrap them up this week?
All righty, we are going with the red-hot Philadelphia Phillies offense. Trey Turner leading things off these days, and gets over 3 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 120. Seems like quite the nice setup there for Mr. Trey Turner. I think the Phillies just have a monster game, period. I didn't want to take, Schwarber and company, but you get Balazzo of Miami pitching. Take advantage of that. I'm going to take Joe Adell at plus 135 for over 3 hits, runs, RBIs. He's been nuclear hot right now, and he gets Barnett of the A's to make his, I believe, 3rd start for the team. So we can go that direction. And then I was shocked to see over 2 hits, runs, and RBIs for Drew Gilbert, the man, the myth, the legend, who's been absolutely outstanding. He's on fire in the plate, given Coors Field, but he gets Michael McGreevy, who gives up a ton of contact. So with Gilbert's speed and stuff, I think he could run into I think he gets to over 2 pretty easily. That's my favorite of the 3 bets, but that means so probably fade. But I'll be taking those plus 120, plus 135, and plus 135.
Plus 135 is pretty sweet stuff. So I'll be transparent here. I've been lighting money on fire for the last week or so. So I am going with some recommendations from the prop bet cheat sheet, which you guys should be checking out. Logan Gilbert, under 17.5 outs. He's facing Atlanta. He hasn't been quite Logan Gilbert in the second half of the season. He's still striking out a lot of guys, but those ratios have not been great. You can get to him. So under 17.5 outs at minus 115. Like in that one, Michael Busch, over 1.5 total bases. I don't know if we've talked enough about what Michael Busch has done this year. He's been very, very good, but he gets Jake Irvin tonight, and you're getting minus 106.4 over 1.5 total bases. And then this one surprised me, the line being where it was. Ronald Acuna, over 1.5 total bases. I got it at plus 133. At first, I was like, this has got to be a mistake. Like the book's making a mistake or something. But he's hitting like $188 over the last month, and he is facing Logan Gilbert. So I understand it, but this one does really stand out if you're using the tools over at Betting Pros. So make sure you are checking out the prop bet cheat sheet. It does really help you out if you're in a bit of a funk when you've missed out on a few days or the picks in a row. You don't trust yourself. Trust us with the prop bet cheat sheet. Really is a great service and a great tool we have. bettingpros.com/MLB props, as Joey P would say. Don't be a tool. Use the tools. Do we have an updated home run board? We do, and Bees has pulled ahead here at 56, positive Grouch at 55, Whips at 55, and George at 54, with the Fisher King also at 54. This one is going to come down to the wire. I love this kind of stuff. This is like crack for me. I love following this type of thing. Bubba, where are you going for your home run call tonight, my friend?
I'm going to take the cupcake approach potentially. I'm going to Coors Field. There's a petulant child taking the mound because he didn't throw that long in his start earlier this week, so he gets to come back pretty quickly because he threw a fit, and hopefully he doesn't throw one here. And Manny Machado takes him deep because Manny Machado is known to look at his home runs too. So I'm hoping we see that. I got Manny Machado taking Kyle Freeland deep. You could pick a lot of players from that game if you like, because I think San Diego takes him to task. Let's put it that way. Nicest way I could say it.
I'm liking it, and I'm loving the Kyle Freeland beef. I am absolutely here for it. I'm going P. Alonso. He's at Great American Ballpark. We're taking Coors in Great American Park tonight. Andrew Abbott, lefty versus righty. Pete Alonso has been heating up as of late. Hit a couple home runs earlier this week. So I'm definitely liking him tonight. Let's take a couple of quick questions before we send you on your way. Will Vest, Jose Ferrer, or Joe Romero, Bubba?
If I know Kyle Finnegan's actually hurt, it's Will Vest. Otherwise, go get yourself from Ferreira, who's been really, really good.
Okay. Geraldo Perdomo, grabbed him off waivers in April. He's been an unheralded stud. Completely agree. He's been amazing. So even if this is the best year of his career, what do you expect out of an average year for Perdomo going forward? I think that he can be like a low-end shortstop one going forward, like, 10th, 11th, 12th, maybe 13th in shortstop rankings. A solid overall ball player, but I think I agree that this is probably a peak year for him where everything's gone right. He's walked more than he's struck out. He's hitting for power. He's stealing a lot. Everything is a career high. What do you think next year, Bubba? Is he a fade or a target for you?
I'd still target him if the helium doesn't go too big. I think he's like a 275 guy. We'll see if the power and speed sticks. He's only 25, so this could be a new lease on life for Perdomo. This could be who he's turning into. So I'd like to kind of still stay on that train until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and he's still very young, Geraldo Perdomo. He's 25 years old. They gave him that contract, which was 4 years, $45 million. So they believe in him. And I think there's decent enough reason for us to believe in him as well. Big Dance, this is a follow-up to the Yuri question. Again, these are the 10 keepers. Jazz, Seager, Bregman, Judge, Churio, Wood, Schwarber, J-Rod, O'Neill, Cruz, and Hunter Brown. Maybe it will be tough to keep Yuri. This is a pretty stacked group. If you're taking Yuri, who would you take him over here, Bubba?
Corey Seager.
Really, eh? Okay.
Old and always hurt. Go get another shortstop.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, considering how deep shortstop is, keeping Seager, I get it.
He's only keeping one pitcher. He needs to keep another pitcher, most likely.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Bubba. Is Cabrera confirmed done for the season? I haven't seen any confirmation, but like we mentioned the other day, from a fantasy point of view, you can consider him dead on arrival, I think, at this point.
Yep.
Which catcher are you drafting next year, Bubba? Augustine Ramirez or Drake Baldwin? This is, man, it's like Sophie's choice right here.
The Goose, Augustine Ramirez. Drake's been great. Not going to knock that at all, but I'm a Goose fan, so give me Augustine Ramirez.
Yeah, I don't have any problem there. I haven't really started to dig in, but I'll probably have teams with both of them. I really love this catcher class that's come up this year. Brandon Sproat, worth a pickup. We talked about him earlier. Maybe worth a pickup, but probably not worth a start in that first game against Cincinnati at Great American. And then wrapping it up with Van Rod, utility spot, Polanco, Larnach, or Montgomery. Probably Colson Montgomery right now.
Yes, he's only hitting like 230, but those 17 bombs is only Kyle Schwarber has more since the All-Star break.
Yeah, him and Varsho are doing this thing where they're having like a 270 on base percentage, and yet every at bat, it seems like they're hitting an extra base hit, usually a home run. So fun stuff there. Fun stuff as always here with my good friend Casey Bubba as we wrap up the week. It's great getting to do the show with you, man. We did this last year. We're doing it this year. Hopefully we get to do it again next year. So, we haven't done this in a while. Just let everybody know what you got going on. Where can people keep up with your work? If they're looking for some weekend pods after they finish listening to this, where can they keep up the Bubba content?
Appreciate it. I'm over on X, I guess, at BDentric, but it's the Bubba and the Bloom pod. We have our Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Bloom, but record twice a week. It's like a Bloom Board type episode on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then like last night, Thursday night, we always record the FAB preview. So your week 25 FAB preview is out and about right now. So check that out, and there's written content all over the place. But follow Twitter, and most importantly, Bubba and the Bloom, and I also have benched with Bubba. But Bubba and the Bloom, go check it out. And the Bloom part, be gentle. He's a nice guy, but he's shy. He'll be on Monday. He's a really nice guy, but he puts up with me multiple times a week. So like this is gonna be a cupcake. Joe's gonna be like a godsend to him.
I appreciate it, my friend. But seriously though, I know there's a lot of ass kissing in the industry, but when I talk about Bubba, it's legit. He's one of the best there is. I subscribe to the Patreon. I used to listen to the podcast live when I was in college. Now that I'm working all day, I got to catch up on the audio feed the next day. I can't be staying up as late as I was, but listen to those podcasts, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's in the podcast feeds. You'll be doing yourself a service listening to Ryan and Bubba. And Ryan will be here on Monday sitting in as the co-host. That one will be a lot of fun. Throw him into the fire with the whole leading off format. I'm not sure if he's a big betting guy, but we'll see if we can get a couple bets out of Ryan, maybe a home run call or two, and run through the weekend update. But that will do it for us, guys. For Joe Orrico and Casey Bubba, we will see you again next time right here on the Fantasy Pros Baseball Podcast. Take care, everybody. Boom. Boom, boom, boom.
It was a good one.
That was fun.
Yes, indeed.